Welcome to the Flexible Philosophy Podcast, where we explore psychology, religion, and philosophy in everyday life. We are both therapists, but we're not your therapist. This show is just for conversation, learning, and fun. It's not professional advice or therapy. If you need support for your own situation, please reach out to a professional therapist. We are so glad you're here. Let's kick it off.
Well. Looks like we're back here for another episode.
Here we go, everybody. Look at this background. If you are not watching on YouTube, which I don't think you are, I'm coming to you sort of live from my trampoline.
The fall background is giving.
It is giving all the fall. There's a pile of giant, beautiful leaves behind me and trees, and there are literally leaves floating down as we speak. I missed fall last year because I was so sick, and this is like my favorite season. And it's always like I get upset because I'm like, it's ending so fast. So I have to be out here as much as possible.
Yes. It's like 80 degrees where I am. So I do see
perfect.
A little bit of yellow on a tree out there, but I'm in a concrete jungle over here downtown. So
okay, well, I'm giving all the nature vibes to you from here. Yeah. Just absorb it from the background.
I look like that's my window.
Yes. It feels so good out here too. It's like 70. It's literally the perfect day. There's not a degree up or down needs to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell our listener about your relationship with trees since all this started with the cancer.
Well, Aleesa and I we recorded our first podcast, which I still think was one of the best. Honestly, the first 5 were so dramatic and good. We started with thoughts about death, and then I talked about walking in the trees, and I feel this sense of connection post-religion to almost like the spiritual nature of trees. Like, they have been here longer than some of us. They're going to be here long after we're gone. They're just so steady. Anyway, and I talked to the trees and I asked them if they would let me. I told the trees I didn't want to die. I was like crying. I didn't even know I had cancer. I just think I was PMSing, and I was just like, I want to be here and absorb Earth. And then I called Aleesa, I think a couple of months into my cancer diagnosis. And I don't remember why, but I told her that I decided that the trees told me I was allowed to stay. And I was like, the trees say I can stay. And then
powerful moment.
It was so powerful. And then to top it all off, on my birthday this year in April, which was 2 months before I went and did heavy chemo, I got a package in the mail. And I opened that. Okay. P.S. We got to talk about how this person over here is such a good gift giver. I opened the package. It is a leather bookmark that someone has hand stamped the sentence, "The trees say you can stay," period, into this bookmark. And I was completely undone. I was like, this is maybe the nicest gift I've ever gotten.
Though anyway, you being undone is reading it and closing it back up.
Yeah, I opened it and I was like, I can't believe it. It's too emotional. I couldn't even handle it. It was the most thoughtful thing I think I've ever gotten. Anyway, that bookmark has traveled with me all the way to Houston. It's in my backpack. It comes with me to all the trips. I've gone to the hospital 1,000 times. That bookmark.
I love that.
Me too.
I'm glad I went with the leather, not like cardboard or something, because that'll be around longer. Yeah, it wasn't laminated.
I don't know how you think of the gifts you give, but you are the best gift giver I've ever known in my whole life.
I don't know. I'm not like that with everyone. There's some people that I don't know what to give them and stuff, but there's other people that I'm like, that's the idea. And then I hold on to it for months till an occasion comes up. And
yes.
Yeah, I'm not like that with everyone though. So
huh. It's like a special power.
Like, my husband's birthday just passed last week, and I got him a thermos with the Zelda video game logo on it. Cause he loves Zelda or whatever. But it was just like, oh, like a cup And we do not need any more cups.
I hear that.
Oh,
Yes, I know.
I can't with the
I know.
cups and the water
I know.
bottles
I
and
know.
the lids.
Yes, it is like one of the worst parts about um what is the thing we say like being in like a consumer-based culture?
Yeah.
First world problems. It's one of
Yeah.
the worst first world problems there is.
Yeah.
Lids and cups.
My mother-in-law visited and she's like, "Do you want me to like help you implement a system to organize all that, like these lids?" And I was like, "Dude, if we did, I my husband was sitting right there. I was like, "Hey, if we implemented this system to organize the lids and like containers and water bottles and stuff, would you put stuff back where it starts?" And he was like, "No." And so I showed my mother-in-law, this is
Yep.
why.
Yes, it's true.
But
Well,
at least nowadays he'll say, "No, I'm not going to do that," because like in the beginning he would have been like, "Yeah, sure," and then I just end up like reorganizing it all the time. We
okay,
just
progress.
we live in the chaos. Yeah, I was like, "Thanks for
Boundaries.
being honest." Like, you're welcome to organize that in your spare time, mother-in-law,
Yes.
but it's not going to
Yes.
be like that tomorrow.
No, and no one can live under that like expectation. That
Were you going to
no
say
one
regime?
regime is a better word. You cannot. No one, except for I guess a small percentage of people who are at home all the time without any children or job have time to organize their lids and cups.
Yeah.
It's just unrealistic. But here's the
Yeah.
thing with being a good gift giver. It is complicated when it's to your family that you live with because if you have a clutter problem, then like everything, I don't want to give my family anything because I don't want one more thing in my house. Like I'm trying to get
Yes.
stuff out of here. And so I'm like not a good gift giver to people I live with, but I'm happy to give it to someone else and be like, here, enjoy this in your house and then
Yeah.
find a place for it.
Yes. Yep. That's the thing. So,
That's tricky.
mm,
Well, do you want to talk about what we were originally talking about?
yes.
Okay.
Where to
So
begin?
ugh, we had a lot of rabbit trails on that convo. I think the theme was everything gives us cancer.
Yes. Okay. Oh, it was because I was eating my lunch in a plastic container that I microwaved.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, at this point, you're just lucky it had a lid that goes with it. Like, yeah. But okay, so you had said we're just doing the best we can with the information we have. And I was like, I
yeah,
have information about how I shouldn't be microwaving certain things, but I do it anyways because there's other priorities on the table, you know?
yeah. It's hard to know that cancer exists. It's hard to know that there's probably environmental factors on top of genetic ones that you have no control over, right? And then it's hard to know that like the environmental factors are not so easy as like, don't wear red socks. It's like, don't expose yourself to plastic. Okay. Unfortunately for our generation, plastic is everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, could you switch to microwaving in a glass container? Maybe.
Yeah, but we're lucky I had protein and a vegetable in there. Like, I'm trying to manage my diet and exercise
Yeah,
and like pack my kids' lunch and do all this stuff. And it's like, oh, you microwaved the wrong thing. Like, okay. Like,
I know.
I'm already doing everything I can, you know?
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, your clothes aren't organic cotton, you know? Um,
Yes.
Cotton is a huge topic here in Texas because like the cancer diagnosis hubs and stuff tend to be like around cotton farms and stuff because of like all the pesticides and things.
Oh
How it
gosh.
seeps into the water and then like tons of farmers end up having brain tumors that are related to like farm stuff. And
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, is this organic cotton clothing company just, having really effective marketing? Or is there merit to that? And like, this shirt's probably plastic, Like,
Yeah.
am I exposing myself to some sort of like cancer causing thing? Or like the California labels, how it says like reproductive and cancer risk or
Yeah.
whatever on like
Everything.
furniture,
Yep.
literally everything. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Formaldehyde in furniture.
yeah. Or it's like, oh, it's just the Californians again with their like legal loopholes people have to jump through and stuff. But I'm like,
But what if
like,
they're right?
yeah.
I know.
There must be a reason why they put that on there. But then it's like, well, this is my only chair. So,
Yeah, file under. We're doing the best we can, but there's also like living knowing that the best we can is still probably going to cause a proportion of people to have cancer is very hard to tolerate. That's
mm,
hard to tolerate that distress on like a low, because I think it's like always there for all of us in some form. It's in our knowledge base culturally that like there are probably environmental causes of cancer that we have yet to like fully target, and we'll probably know more later. And like we're living in that.
mm. Talk about exposure therapy.
Yeah, that's some serious distress. And I'm not implying don't do anything. Like if you can make changes, like I think we're all trying, but like it's such a, I think we would almost have to be z transplanted to like 100 years from now in that culture to actually make those changes well. I
Mm,
just don't think we're there.
yeah. Well, Brian Johnson says
I
that
know.
he is the experiment, like for people in the future to be able to point back to the data and fine tune it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Okay.
I'm into it, but Brian Johnson, okay, this is the other side of this we were talking about. Brian Johnson is kind of influencer like, and a lot of people are getting information from influencers about what causes cancer. And there's a lot of like pseudoscience and misinformation, and people are afraid of cancer. And so fear causes us to like stop our skeptical brains and like believe anything. And like, not everything that Brian Johnson thinks or believes is probably accurate.
Mm.
And that's
Well,
true of anyone.
then you have the skepticism that comes with like an influencer selling products and them
Yeah.
saying that the product addresses a societal concern. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the concern is you're going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you not, you
Yes.
know, talk,
100% of people will.
yeah, talk about a good way to get your product sold. It's just
Yeah.
really hard to know like who to trust. I think we're all culturally navigating that
Yeah.
in this era.
Yeah. Or that fact or whatever that we now have more access to more data than at
Yeah.
any other point in humankind. Like,
Yes.
it's pretty mind blowing. Like, that in 10 minutes of scrolling on Instagram or something, I've seen more content than what existed at a certain point in history, you know?
Yeah. It's hard to have the knowledge of how to make it better or safer, but not have the means to access it or make it all happen.
Hmm.
Like our grandparents' generation didn't know that some of that stuff was causing cancer.
Yeah. Well, what about the smoking thing?
Okay, so I told Aleesa that this lives rent free in my head all the time that our grandparents' generation was like, smoking is great, it's healthy, it's good for you. Like, here's a fake clinical study that shows smoking is a good health product. And so they're all like, first of all, addicted, and second of all, doing it justified by science, like quote, scientists or advertisers telling them it's good for them. And it was such a fail. Like so many people got lung cancer from that. And so I always think about that. And we know that like our current generation is doing things that we think are good for us or we think are not harmful. And in another generation, we're going to be looking back saying, like, those were terrible ideas. That's what Brian Johnson is saying.
Yeah.
Um, but we don't know. You cannot know what you don't know in your
Yeah.
generation.
Or like cocaine stuff, and then there's like the cornflake stuff, and then there's like, oh, giving women orgasms cures neuroses,
Oh,
or mental
yes.
illness. It's stuff like that. It's like, yeah, nowadays like we look back and we're like, oh, or bloodletting, like all that like early psychology
Yes.
stuff that you read about, or like those cranial studies where they'd like study the bumps on people's heads and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's kind of like we're ever evolving, but nowadays it's at such a fast rate that it
Hmm.
can change from year to year what different suggestions are.
And I don't think we're just getting it wrong over and over. Like, it seems like we're getting some things right and adjusting. Like, the scientific method has been great for that. Like, we're making progress. But the truth of humanity is like, we're always going to learn new things. And so we just have to know that, like, we don't have all the information at any given
Mhm.
moment. It's hard though when it's involving like life and death.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's like could it be that fads are a way to fine tune things or like to get more information? Or is it just a fad for the sake of influencing or something?
And we don't know until later.
Yeah. Until we die.
Yeah. Someone else is going to find out for us.
Yep. Yeah.
That's really, really tricky. Like I just okay, I'm just telling you this as personal, but we can put it on here if you want. So I just started doing HRT
Hmm.
because I went straight into menopause after the transplant. And I've done a lot of research on HRT because it's been controversial. Does it cause breast cancer? Does the estrogen feed cancer? Or is it safe and preventative? And I've like researched, and so it's recently been in the headlines, which is interesting because it coincides with me starting it. And they've just removed the black box warning for it because they've debunked the studies from the past that say um, HRT causes cancer. So
Hmm.
people are now like, yay, like women need this. It's really good for them. Like, let them have access to it if it's safe. Well, last night I saw a post with one of the doctors I follow who is an actual OBGYN doctor who's been part of this process. Guess who she was standing next to taking a picture to celebrate this big win?
BJ.
Who's BJ?
Brian Johnson.
Oh no. Guess
We're
one
on
more
an
time. Okay, guess
one more
one more
guess.
time for a political figure associated with Make America Healthy Again who has had all kinds of pseudoscience claims
Oh,
that are crazy.
RFK.
Yes.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
RFK standing with that doctor, and I was so upset because I
Mm.
was like, "Oh my gosh, is this HRT going to give me cancer?" Because I don't trust anything RFK is doing. And then I went through this whole rabbit trail to decide are the studies that have debunked the black box warning valid, or is this just more like, hey, Tylenol causes autism? So can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Dang. Yeah, I can't imagine. Or just like you having gone through this psychological process over last year of like how your body is betraying you, you know? Or like putting stuff in your body that you know is going to cause really bad side effects and harm you
Mhm.
and stuff. Like, I don't know, just like living with all that tension of like, this is for my own good, but it's going to be really painful because you know what's coming with that. Like, you're kind of like in that same predisposition with the HRT
Yes.
stuff because it's like, is this like actively going to like harm me? Or you already lived through a nightmare. Like, is it going to cause another type of cancer? You
Yeah.
know, so it
Yes.
feels reminiscent.
It is reminiscent. That's been the whole year is like tolerating the distress of knowing that like there's no scenario in life where there's a guaranteed healthy outcome that doesn't have risks. And like all the risks I'm now living in suck. Like the treatment that I'm on for preventing the myeloma from coming back is known to cause a different type of cancer.
Mm.
Like there's a like 5% chance I could have a different type of blood cancer as a result of taking the medication I'm taking from also as a result of the stem cell transplant. So
Cut this.
the cure causes cancer.
Okay, cut this. Is it Revlimid?
It's Revlimid combined with the melphalan from um, the stem cell transplant. Both of those in 5% of people later on, like 10 or 20 years later, they can get this other blood cancer that like they don't have a cure for and it kills you really fast.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I never threw that one into our hopeful feedback jar.
This is not hopeful feedback.
That's the
Always rooting for
distress.
you is my tagline.
Hold on.
Um,
I'm like, hold on, I have something more distressing than HRT. Let me tell you this statistic.
this is worse than when I pulled up the Wikipedia page for the type of cancer you were ruling out back then, you know, that
Yes.
you ended up having. But yeah, that's a really scary percentage and like prognosis. Because it's like, is it 5% over a lifetime or 5% of people like contract it year over year?
5% over a lifetime. And I have asked several doctors about it, and they have said the statistic is probably more like 1 to 3%
Hmm.
because you have to think of the fact that like some of the myeloma patients that end up getting that. Like they have a lot of lines of treatment on top of that, and they're also getting really old and also really frail. And so there's some confounding variables. Um, but still like 1%'s not great. I mean, you don't it'd be sucky to go through all of this and then have a secondary cancer. But secondary cancers are a real thing
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
other people with other treatments too, because chemo is corrosive to your body.
Mm.
I think we should leave this in because it was very real.
Leave it in. I was just worried about the trademarked name of the medication being put in, but
Oh, I don't think that it's a documented risk. You know
okay.
it when you take it. It's on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Oh, that's always my filter of like, you know, putting out content. Like if it's on Wikipedia, it's fair game.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to live knowing that it has been an exercise in radical acceptance of knowing that life is very uncontrollable,
Yep.
way more than we want it to be. And so
Mm.
there's things that harm us and that can like end our lives when we don't in ways we don't want. And like there's zero control over how and when that happens. And so you just have to do the best you can.
Yeah. I feel like I voluntarily slack. Like I know it's not the best I can, and I'm like, well, I did other things today, so it's just like I don't know. It's sometimes stuff doesn't feel like it's life or death.
Yeah.
And then years later, you find out that it was. It's kind of like it's cruel because we can't travel in time yet.
Well, everyone gets to decide what balance works for them. Like people look at Brian Johnson and how he spends like millions of dollars plus even like 5 hours a day on his regimen. And they're like, that's not the life for me. So maybe you're going to take some risks with your health because your quality of life is better.
Hmm.
And we only have one life.
Yeah.
So, how much of your life are you going to dedicate to staying alive at all costs and then losing opportunities? And how much of your life are you going to like just live and then you got to live and then we deal with it later?
Hmm.
I don't know.
We deal with it later. So, what does that mean to you? Like after death?
Okay.
I'm not. It's not a trap. It's just friendly exploration. I promise. There's no agenda.
Wait, are you saying what do you think happens when we die?
I'm saying, do you consider yourself to be a good person? I'm just kidding.
Do you know what happens if you die tonight? Where will you go?
Oh my gosh. All those scripts and the tracts
Ah,
that we used to pass out. No, but yeah, just like, you know, friendly philosophy,
okay.
atheism question, right? You're like, you know, you don't deal with it till after or whatever. Like, what's that mean to you?
I'm on a journey to thinking about what I think happens after we die. It's gone from obviously the religious of like, well, we go straight to evangelical heaven where white Jesus is. Okay.
Hmm.
And there's gold streets to I mean, I know people who insist that like they're sure that what happens is that we take our last breath, our brain stops firing, and our consciousness ends. And the only way we exist after that is in the molecules that still exist and go into something else, and that we will cease to exist. And our soul, there's no me after that. It'll be like before we were born.
Hmm.
So no awareness, like we're just that's the end. Um, Part of me thinks that's true, and part of me thinks when I zoom out real big and look up at the stars and look up at the infinite universe and think to myself, we are all doing all of this and we have absolutely no idea what this is or why we're here. Then I like to throw in the bucket of like it could be anything when we die. Like we could totally go into another expression of ourselves to another space and time where we could be amongst people where our like memories are intact, our relationships, our awareness, and like this keeps going. But I just, I know some people get like overwhelmed by not knowing, but I think it's so crazy that that this is real and we don't know.
Like you see it as possibilities.
I lean towards possibilities, so I'm not terrified and upset because I could go towards the like, I'm gonna cease being, and that's like so upsetting. But then I like to like pull myself out of that spiral by being like, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have to answer now. What do you think?
Oh, shoot. Why did I ask a question that I don't want to answer?
This should be dinner conversation all the time.
Our kids would be miserable. Um,
Oh my God. People are like, why is this interesting? I'm like, because it's so interesting.
yeah. Um, After death,
No wrong
I
answers.
what? No wrong
No.
answers? Well, if you died today and you are put on that witness stand before the Lord,
Okay, that's the wrong answer.
you said no wrong answers.
I lied.
I don't know. I tend to ascribe to like an afterlife, I think. Like just my view of seeing things or like my belief system or something like that. I think I would be willing to like say or guess that like hell is probably not real, you know? I think to that to that extent, like I don't think eternal suffering is a thing, you know?
Okay.
um could there be like a rehab class that certain people have to go to and take? I don't know, you know. Um but I don't know, I kind of like get into like a lot of paranormal activity podcasts and like paranormal activity like videos and stuff like that. They're like people using spirit boxes and stuff. Like a lot, I would say, of the videos, probably 95% of them seem fake to me.
Yeah.
Um or like the spirit boxes thing, I'm like, you could, I mean, anyone could create that content and make it entertaining and like not real. But I do tend to ascribe to the idea of an afterlife, where like some schools of thought say that it's going to happen here on Earth, to a certain extent, like in this place of future time, or like if it's in another place, or like is it a collective consciousness? I don't know,
Yeah.
but I don't think gold streets are practical. Because it's like, how are you gonna mine all that? You know, like if it
Yeah.
physically exists, you know, I think there's some like poetic language that's used to describe stuff that's like not actually literal. But
Yeah.
probably the first time in my life I've ever said that. Of like,
Really?
yeah,
On the record?
I don't think there's gonna be gold streets, you know?
Is
Um,
it the first time that you've actually thought about it in a while and like thought like what do I think? Or do you think it privately but don't say it out loud?
uh I think it's the first time I'm thinking of like the practicalities of heaven
Yes.
or whatever. Or like
Yes.
there's so much talk in like religion or like Jesus or, you know, whatever about not being materialistic. And then
Yeah.
there's like these cultural beliefs of like having a mansion in heaven and stuff like I'm like that
Yeah.
doesn't add up, you know? Um
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's like more organicness to it than like the imagery that our society or like I mean modern society has tried to ascribe to what
Yeah.
the afterlife could be. But I mean, explanations or myths or whatever about the afterlife have been around forever, like for
Yeah.
literally ever. So,
Yes. I
yeah.
think I'm becoming more compassionate towards religion in the sense that like it is really scary that we're here and that we watch people be not here
Mhm.
ever again and that we
Yeah.
know that it will someday happen to us. So the fact that cultures have across time made ways to make that reality more like palatable or find ways to like deal with that, to me, I'm like, okay, like we probably all need something to help us navigate that really difficult part of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I certainly like as a therapist, I wouldn't steer someone away from a system that's working for them. You know,
Yeah.
if they're abusing people or, you know, like being abused in their spiritual community or system or something like that, I
Yeah.
might ask some strategic questions for them to arrive to their own conclusion or just like to explore that. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's appropriate to like even as friends or something. I don't think it's appropriate to steer someone a certain way and to be like, you know, that's completely wrong, get out of it, you know, or
Yeah.
this isn't working for you, so stop, or this would work for you better, so you need to start. Like that is the legit exact same thing that's been so problematic like in these circles of high control. Like, I've determined what's best for you, or I've determined what's incorrect. So follow that, you know,
Yeah.
no questions asked. Like in therapy,
Yes.
totally inappropriate.
I'm telling you what you have to think and feel, and you need to listen to me because I know it's true.
Hmm. Yeah. No,
Warning signs. And like
Delulu.
to say that you definitely, I'm not saying as like an atheist says, like, I'm certain there's no God, but like to say it without also noting, I believe there's no God, and I'm aware that it's my personal held belief that's totally unprovable. Like none of us can know. Like the situation we're all in here as alive people without any understanding really or provability of why we're here. Like that is such a un unbelievable situation to be in that to say you know anything when it's
Hmm.
super clear no one knows anything is silly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying like you shouldn't like everybody has the right to believe it and say it, but it's just like, and I'll never be wrong, and I'm sure I can never, like, you could say, like, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God, or I'm a Christian, and I'm sure it's true, but to be convinced that you're ever going to be right and nothing could change it seems silly to me
Yeah.
in the context of all this.
Yeah. Like I view it as like if I were to have a conversation with God, like I just said, gold isn't very practical to have in heaven or something. Maybe I'll get there and there is gold. And he was like, nice try, Lisa, but it's not like in certain circles where it's like you're not allowed to entertain these thoughts or like say them out loud because that's blasphemy. And it's like a golden ticket to hell, no pun intended, um, for the gold part. But it's like, how how can you like explore ideas and stuff under the guise of so much fear of like if you're wrong, you're about to lose it all. You know? Like I think there's like this compassionate thing of like, okay, Lisa, like that was cute, you philosophizing and stuff like that, but it's like, people have been trying to figure that out forever. Like it wasn't for anyone to figure out, you know?
Yes, to put a consequence on people for being wrong about or right about something that is completely unknowable,
Mhm.
ultimately unknowable is so unfair to
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah, for sure.
It's and for humans to put that on other humans, I think is unfair.
Yeah. When it's like the limitation of humans is that we're like super bound to space and time. Like we don't have the ability to know
Yes.
stuff.
And
So,
then to judge yourself or someone else for being that way, to having a limitation of knowledge, which is
yeah.
a clear limitation of knowledge, doesn't make sense.
Or to
Although,
not, oh, sorry.
you go.
Well, just like to not ascribe to a specific school of thought that exists for a specific person. Like to say it doesn't make sense to you. So eternal consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also I separated out from like the dialectic that there is a space where everyone can be wrong or never, no one can actually know about what is ultimately the meaning and purpose of life and where we go when we die. And you can also, in giving people permission to believe any sort of thing, and also holding a standard for religious harm and structural abuse and studying and research of like high control dynamics and calling things out. Like just because we can't all force a verdict on the big questions doesn't mean we can force a verdict on the very knowable, like, that's not okay. We can still
Mm,
study and research human dynamics and be like, in general, like, religions can be a very personal belief system, but they can also be a very harmful, studyable, researchable network of power and stuff.
yeah.
Both can be true.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Like,
anything goes.
sure. Yeah. Like you can have a high standard for respect, yet at the same time respect someone's like theological inclinations or something.
Yeah, and there's a difference between, I think, like personally held beliefs and socially constructed like systems,
Hmm. Okay.
but we can untie.
I think it needs to be untied for a lot of people because the personal belief system is telling them, and like, authority figures are telling them that that is the end all be all message that everyone needs to accept for their own good. You are saving them, you know? Like
Yeah.
the personal belief system ends up spilling over onto the social dynamic or creating these unfair expectations or kind of like forced forced beliefs among friends.
Okay, here's the dilemma though. When does your personally held belief become a non-starter of harm? Like, because somebody can have a personally held belief of religious fundamentalism that says, it's my right to, and my personal belief that, men are in authority over women. And so, I'm going to make all these cultural norms and rules and a religion around that. And God told me that, and this is all true. So it's like, this is the fine line between giving someone autonomy to believe what they want and then telling them, like, I'm sorry, sir, that's not allowed.
Yeah. Well, my definition in that case of doing harm is
Hmm.
different from that person's because for me, doing harm is like imposing all of that or like stifling others or, disrespecting people, giving bad marriage advice also that like keeps people in harmful situations and stuff. Like that's my definition of harm. That guy's definition of harm is not disseminating the message. So if the standard is, well, you can believe what you want but do no harm, but
Hmm.
the fundamental definition of harm is different for the two groups. I mean, I think there's a lot left to be explored.
Can you say that again? I got lost.
Okay. I don't know if I can say it again. It's like
Here's
on
what
Marco.
happened.
Let me rewind it.
I
Okay.
constructed a theological, philosophical question that I then got lost in myself. Like my ideas got bigger than my brain could track.
I might have talked myself into a corner with it. But
No, there's like something very real about that dilemma. And I'm sure like there's very, very smart people who could call it certain names and like diagram
yeah.
it out, but like sometimes I get a little lost in the nuance of it.
Okay. We can like do a storytelling of it.
Okay.
Okay. You have Pastor Andrew. Okay. It's a name that I just came up with. There is no coincidental
All the
association
pastors named Andrew
with
coming
anyone.
after you.
I don't know who that might be. Okay. Pastor Andrew, super, super controlling of his congregation. Okay. He is telling people who they can marry, how their marriage should look. Women are to serve men, like this hierarchy. Like it's the whole playbook, basically. Okay. Really unhealthy dynamics with leadership and stuff like that. It's just kind of like trickle down of like he kicks the dog, then that guy kicks the dog, then that guy kicks the kid, whatever. So, if we were to have a friendly conversation with him and be like, okay, when does your personal beliefs about marriage or your beliefs about gender equality, etc., when does it become harmful? Okay, my side to that is it becomes harmful when all these people are stifled or negatively affected. They're not able to make their own decisions, etc. His definition of harmful is me doing harm is me not sharing the message or
Right.
me not discipling these people to live in the way that they should. Like, to me, it's non-malfeasance, like not doing the bad, but to him, it's a question of beneficence of doing the good.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It's
our fundamental definitions of harm or what the good is are
yes.
completely opposite. So you can't say at what point is harm caused if the definition of harm is two different things. Because he's like, by me perpetuating this dynamic in my church, I'm actually doing good. And for me, by perpetuating that dynamic in your church, Pastor Andrew, like you're actually causing harm. And so it's like this ethical dilemma of like, is it
Yes.
non malfeasance or is it beneficence? And the
Yes.
guy's still doing his same thing.
This is the cultural war that we are currently in.
Yes.
Because when does personal autonomy and personal freedom for a belief or a value impact the wider sociological group?
Hmm.
And what individual freedoms are we willing to give up to say, I'm sorry, that is harmful to a larger group of people? It's, what was your fancy word?
Non-malfeasance.
It's non-malfeasance. But if we're going to do that as a culture, then we're going to have to restrict some people from doing things that they feel are personal freedoms. And so we have a values conflict because I value both. And you cannot have a culture where you have the highest individual autonomy and the highest protection for the community at the same time. It has to
Hmm.
happen in levels. And so everybody has a different belief and we vote on it and we live in it of like, where those levels come up and down. And it's hard when the people who say individuality is the most important value, but they
Hmm.
only mean their individuality.
Sure. Yeah.
And they only mean their right way is the only way that gets to happen. And then we're over here being like, everybody's way should be valid, but not the way that restricts other people's way. It's
Mm.
a doozy.
It is a doozy.
So complicated.
And I don't know if we're closer to a solution now than anyone was before.
Oh well, no one promised when you turned this podcast on we were going to answer any questions. We're
Yeah.
just here to talk in circles and make it it's hard to be alive, right?
Yeah. You just
Answer
explore.
religion.
Yeah. And then God's just like, good try. Like,
That's why the trees matter out here. Because guess what? We've said all these words and they don't care. They're still out here being beautiful.
yeah.
And we didn't figure it out, and that's okay.
So, little parts work thing. Okay. Part of me, a very strong part, is like the solution to all this is if everyone would just live and let live. Okay. That could be the hopeful feedback. That's the philosophy. Live and let live, provide some friendly feedback, just be chill about it. It's like a hippie part. Okay.
Relax.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Just chill.
Yes.
Just microwave a plastic container. It's fine. Live and let live. But then this like, fundamentalist part is like no, because people have to know the message,
I know.
you know? So it's a tug of war that happens in society or within of like,
Yeah,
who is doing good in that circumstance by just letting people, or you have like all this like missions talk that's like, well, people are dying every day without the opportunity, you know? And yeah, it throws you for a loop of like, okay, what is the good and what's the good for society? Because like fundamentalists are very convinced that like them imposing a belief system on other people, they are doing the good.
I know.
Hmm.
It's very confusing. I have a very cool tagline to end that till the
What?
next conversation. And that's what it's like to be a human.
Okay. Yep.
That summarizes the whole conversation. That's my new tagline for this podcast. This is my secondary tagline.
I think
And
it's
that's
like
what it's like to be a human.
that's what it's like to be a very self-aware human where
Yes.
knowledge is suffering. It's like the more you
Yes.
know is like the more you have to sort out and figure out what to do with it.
That's what it's like to be a flexible philosopher
Yes.
because we're open to thinking through ideas and concepts that are deep and complicated and hard to, like, there's no easy answers in any of that. So,
Yep.
listen, if
Well,
you saw the title, you signed up for that.
yeah, you did. If you're still here. My favorite thing to tell clients at the end of a session, which might be appropriate for the end of an episode, is like, well, we fixed that. We
We
totally.
did not.
Yep. Problem solved. Check it off.
Yep. But we
Yep.
have to tolerate that you actually didn't fix it. That's the whole point. But
It's
we were
okay.
here together. That's the
Yep.
point. This
We
was
have a
fun.
lot of time. So,
Okay. Well, goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful day. I hope you get outside and touch a tree.
yes, enjoy.
Okay.
Bye.